With steady hands and no trace of doubt, the white-haired young man begins his revenge. He pulls the trigger with cold precision. The shot lands perfectly. The large man stiffens in disbelief as the bullet strikes him, his expression frozen in shock. For a brief second, silence hangs in the air. Then chaos erupts. The bodyguards shout in panic and desperation, raising their weapons and firing wildly at the intruder in a frantic attempt to protect their fallen employer. Bullets tear into the young man's body. Each impact drains his strength, yet he feels no regret. As he collapses onto the cold floor, he reflects that life grants only one chance to each person. He notes inwardly that no fortune, no matter how vast, can bargain with death. The once powerful villain now lies motionless, reduced to nothing more than a lifeless body. His wealth has failed him. Blood runs down the fighter's wounded face. He acknowledges that he has avenged his parents, yet he admits that the price has been unbearably high. Reaching weakly toward the empty air, he declares that he refuses to accept such a tragic ending. He insists that he will not simply vanish. His vision dims, shadows creep inward until the world dissolves completely and his consciousness slips away. He feels himself falling through an endless abyss. Even as his spirit descends, he refuses to surrender. He cries out for another chance, demanding the opportunity to change everything. Suddenly, a thin beam of light pierces the darkness. It grows brighter, cutting through the void. He opens his eyes with fierce determination, revealing a sharp, unyielding gaze ready to confront whatever awaits him. When he wakes, sunlight pours through a window and spreads across a modest room. He finds himself lying in a simple bed. Sitting up abruptly, he presses his hand against his chest, wondering how he could possibly be alive after taking so many bullets. As he studies the room, recognition dawns on him. Every detail belongs to a place he once lived in his youth. On the old television, a commercial plays for a newly launched virtual reality game called Conviction. He stares at the screen in disbelief. He understands that he has returned to the past. The realization strikes him with force. He has been given a rare and precious opportunity. Now standing with a restored, youthful body, Nyan surveys the photographs in the room. He knows exactly who he is and what mission lies ahead. He picks up a framed picture and looks at his parents. He remembers how they once worked with metals on the frontier. In those days, the family earned enormous profits from strategic materials. His father founded a company that expanded rapidly and brought them immense wealth. Yet prosperity proved fragile. Their success attracted envy and greed. At 18, he watched everything collapse. Friends and relatives betrayed them. The company fell into bankruptcy under coordinated sabotage. Staring at his reflection now, he admits that he had been lazy and careless. Back then, revenge had been his only path. He had chosen to drag his enemy down with him. But this time, with fate granting him another chance, he swears he will not repeat those mistakes. He knows that conviction will reshape the world. Financial empires will rise within it, including those controlled by his enemies. The game will become humanity's second reality. In his previous life, he had reached level 180 as a thief. Taking his phone, he checks the date. The game launched only 7 days ago. There is still time. Armed with memories of the future, he understands the advantage he holds. The highest player level is only 5. Catching up will not be difficult. He reviews his savings and confirms he can afford the most basic gaming helmet. Hatred flashes in his eyes as he vows that Taoshu will answer for the destruction and tragic end of his family. Filled with renewed energy, he dresses quickly. He promises himself that this time he will rewrite his fate entirely. When night falls, he leaves his apartment, determined to take the first step in his new plan. Even though he begins 7 days behind others, he believes his past experience will allow him to surpass them all. Without hesitation, the former thief equips the helmet and prepares to enter Conviction's virtual world once more. A loading screen appears, signaling the system's activation for his first login. Moments later, he faces the faction selection interface. The world is divided into light, dark, and neutral powers. The first option presented is the Greenland Empire, a human nation governed by a council. The Saturn Empire represents a tribal alliance of dwarves, beastmen, and noble elves. The dark faction consists of demon descendants and the undead. Lastly, the neutral faction belongs to the giants, who dwell peacefully in the mountains. In his previous life, he had chosen the Wind Thief class. Knowing its skills intimately, he decides to follow the same path. The system confirms his selection. He is reborn as a thief of the Greenland Empire. He is transported to a floating city where the system prompts him to choose a name. Without hesitation, he enters his own name. He sees no reason to hide. The character creation completes successfully, and the system announces that the human Nyan is ready to begin. He spawns in the bustling city of Koral, surrounded by countless players embarking on their own journeys. Opening his status window, he examines his attributes. The familiar interface fills him with a strange nostalgia. This time, he distributes his stat points differently, correcting the inefficient choices that once slowed his progress. In the city square, he observes a teleportation hub connecting villages and cities across the map. Nearby, a player loudly claims that he is selling a rare dagger for 2 copper coins, emphasizing that it grants 1 extra point of attack. Nyan recalls that he once fell for this trick. He knows the dagger is worth only 1 coin and can even be obtained freely. Farther along, another player offers a self-skill book for 6 copper coins to beginner thieves. Several newcomers complain that the price is far too high for those just starting out. Nyan approaches calmly and asks about the cost, even though he already knows the answer. He understands how vital the stealth skill is. He also remembers a hidden chest that can accelerate his growth significantly. With a calculated tone, he proposes an exchange. He explains that he is willing to reveal a secret location in return for the book, and he promises to show how to obtain more copies. The vendor reacts with irritation, stating that the newcomer should stop trying to get something for free. However, Nyan calmly reveals that he knows the precise origin of the book. He explains that fallen shamans drop it and provides the exact coordinates of the location. The vendor is stunned. He questions how a level 0 player could possess such information and wonders whether the promise of multiple books could be genuine. After a moment of hesitation, the vendor decides to take the risk. He hands over the skill book without charge. Nyan accepts it with quiet satisfaction and fulfills his part of the deal by sharing the coordinates. The man eagerly prepares to test the location. Before he leaves, Nyan requests another item as a small favor. The vendor assures him that he will send it later. He activates the city's teleporter, and a burst of intense blue light surrounds him before he disappears. Left alone, Nyan turns to his next objective. Using the teleporter himself, he arrives in the city of Track, known for its quests and dangers. Without delay, he opens the skill book. A dark aura envelops him as the system confirms that he has learned stealth. He activates the skill, and his body gradually fades from sight. Completely concealed, he moves swiftly through the streets toward the city gates. He exits and enters the forest beyond. Navigating through dense trees, he heads for the feline monster zone, relying on stealth to avoid detection. Soon, he reaches the wildcat territory. Level 2 and Level 4 creatures patrol the area, ready to attack intruders. Looking upward, he spots a silver chest resting on a tree branch, guarded by several Level 5 wildcats. He recalls that chests vary in rarity. The scale ranges from common white to silver, gold, dark gold, and finally legendary. The greater the rarity, the more valuable the contents. He confirms that the silver chest remains unopened. His journey has not been wasted. Though the challenge exceeds his current level, he reminds himself that defeat here carries no penalty of lost experience or items. Reactivating stealth, he prepares to execute his risky plan. With controlled speed, he runs through the forest, slipping past the patrolling monsters unseen as he advances toward the valuable chest. He is fully aware that his stealth lasts only 2 minutes, and that unlocking a chest is not instant. Every second matters. If he hesitates, he will be exposed. Suddenly, one of the wildcats stiffens. Its crimson eyes narrow as it detects the faintest distortion in the air. The creature senses something unnatural. The young man reacts immediately. He twists his body and narrowly avoids a swipe of sharp claws. He understands that getting too close will break his concealment entirely. Relying on speed and precise footwork, he evades another strike and dashes toward the tree. With a controlled leap, he lands on the branch where the silver chest rests. The treasure is finally within reach. He places both hands on it and begins unlocking it as fast as the system allows. A progress bar appears before him. It crawls forward at an agonizing pace. He forces himself to remain calm, knowing his invisibility could vanish at any moment. Then one of the wildcats looks up. Its eyes lock onto the faint outline of his body on the branch. It has seen him. 27 seconds pass in suffocating tension. At last, the system announces that the chest has been successfully opened. Without hesitation, he reaches inside and retrieves the item he had been seeking. He confirms inwardly that he has finally obtained the skill book that will set his growth on the perfect course. The book contains the Vital Strike skill, a technique that inflicts 150% additional damage with a cooldown of 30 seconds. A satisfied expression crosses his face as he acknowledges that this is one of the strongest early game skills for thieves. He activates the book immediately. A golden light surrounds him while the system confirms that the technique has been learned. The instant the process ends, his stealth fades. The wildcats stare at him with unfiltered fury. There is no escape. The monsters surround him and leap at once. As he is overwhelmed, he remarks internally with irony that the cats have faithfully guarded the treasure for him until the very end. When he is defeated, he remembers that players lose items upon death. However, since he is still level 0 and carries nothing valuable, this loss costs him nothing. Moments later, his body rematerializes inside the city. He comments to himself that this unintentional express return is an efficient way to travel back quickly. Without wasting time, he shifts his focus to the second phase of his plan. Now he needs coins. He calculates that the next step requires 20 copper coins. As a beginner, earning that sum will not be easy. But he already knows the fastest route. He heads straight to Klaus the Hunter and accepts the first quest, which requires collecting 20 giant rat skulls. Immediately afterward, he visits Farmer End and takes another task that involves defeating 50 of the same gray rats. Next, he approaches Or the pharmacist. He understands that Or offers a hidden quest that only becomes available after accepting the previous 2. With quiet confidence, he accepts this secret mission as well. which demands 21 giant rat tails. In a nearby field, the grass shifts under the weight of a monstrous paw. The hunt begins. A level 1 giant rat emerges bearing sharp teeth and claws. The thief activates Vital Strike and delivers a precise blow. The damage is devastating. The rat falls in a single hit. He collects both a skull and a tail for his quests. Unexpectedly, the creature also drops equipment. He notes with mild surprise that such a weak monster rarely leaves gear behind. The item is a pair of leather leggings that provide 4 points of defense and can be worn by any warrior-type class. He immediately calculates that the leggings can sell for at least 7 copper coins at the auction house. More giant rats appear, attempting to surround him. He remains calm. With clean movements and careful timing, he chains attacks together, using Vital Strike whenever it becomes available. Thanks to his experience from his past life and the newly acquired skill, he clears the area efficiently and without difficulty. An hour later, he returns to the village carrying everything required to complete all 3 quests. After turning in the items, he receives 34 copper coins and 3 instant recovery potions as rewards. He expresses quiet satisfaction at the generous payout. He lists the leggings for sale and prepares for his next purchase. With coins secured, he enters the city's weapon shop. The shopkeeper greets him warmly and claims that he offers the finest weapons in the region. The young man ignores the sales pitch. He states clearly that he wants a crossbow with specific attack power and range, suitable for up to 40 copper coins. The merchant presents a rapid-shot crossbow priced at 35 copper coins, explaining that it matches those requirements perfectly. Without hesitation, the young man purchases it along with 9 bundles of arrows, spending a total of 44 coins. The shopkeeper bids him farewell and wishes him luck on his dangerous journey. Leaving the shop, he sets his sights on the feared bison monster zone. He knows that bison are level 5 creatures and that the game enforces severe level suppression against weaker players. Despite being level 0, he believes his experience will allow him to defeat the herd leader. He arrives at a vast green plain where wild bison roam. Using knowledge from his previous life, he leaps across a canyon and positions himself in a strategic location that the monsters cannot reach easily. He remembers the exact coordinates where the herd leader typically appears to graze. Looking down, he confirms that the massive creature is present. The herd leader is level 8 with 300 health, an intimidating opponent for beginners. He evaluates the distance and confirms that it is perfect for his crossbow. He fires the first volley of arrows. The chief, which had been grazing peacefully, takes the hit. Due to the level gap, each arrow deals only 1 point of damage. The health bar barely moves. He remains unconcerned. He has prepared thoroughly. He continues firing relentlessly. The leader's health decreases slowly as irritation turns into rage. The beast's eyes glow red as it identifies the source of the attack. With a furious roar, it charges toward the cliff. However, it cannot climb up. He is exploiting a flaw in the terrain. Arrow after arrow strikes the enraged creature, each one shaving away a single point of health. The battle stretches on for hours. His supply of arrows gradually diminishes, yet he never stops shooting. 3 hours pass. The bison still resists, roaring in frustration. He is surprised by its endurance. Nearly 4,000 arrows have already been used. Still, he maintains his focus and continues the assault. Finally, one last arrow lands cleanly. The final point of damage is dealt. The great bison leader collapses, its massive body hitting the ground lifeless. The exhausting battle comes to an end. He jumps down from the cliff and approaches the fading corpse. Because he defeated a much stronger opponent, he gains a significant amount of experience and jumps directly to level 2. Curious about the rewards, he examines the drops. He finds a bronze dagger and 5 copper coins. For an early game fight, this is an excellent outcome. He recalls that bronze weapons are 20% stronger than common ones. Estimating its value, he concludes that the dagger could sell for at least 10 silver coins once its attributes are identified. At that moment, a notification appears informing him that his previously listed item has been sold. Another message follows, stating that the player Flying Stone wishes to speak with him. Flying Stone explains that the secret location works perfectly, and that he has already obtained 2 skill books, adding that he feels indebted for the tip. The young man responds that there is no need for concern and instructs him to send a specific skill book once it drops from the monsters. He then claims that he used to own another account, implying that he had once been a high-level player. Flying Stone accepts this explanation and believes he had significant experience in the past. Flying Stone then asks whether his former account had cleared the Fallen Shaman dungeon, mentioning that his own group lost everything inside. With absolute confidence, the young man states that he possesses the complete strategy. However, he declares that the fixed price for the guide is 2 silver coins, and he makes it clear that there will be no bargaining. Hearing this, Flying Stone becomes excited and remarks that the price is surprisingly low. He promises that he will quickly convince his team captain to accept the offer. The hero scans the horizon, knowing he needs to learn the true value of the bronze weapon he earned from killing the herd chief. Not long after, the white-haired young man reaches the village of Track, a crowded hub packed with shops that matter to players. He steps into an appraisal store and finds a striking elf appraiser behind the counter. With a polite smile, she asks which item he wants identified today. Still smiling, she explains that the identification fee is 10 copper coins and waits for his decision so she can begin the magical process. Hearing the price, he quickly runs the numbers and concludes that if the fee is this steep, the item must be valuable, likely worth at least 12 silver coins on the market. He doesn't hesitate. He hands over 10 copper coins and signals that she should start identifying the dagger immediately. The elf raises her hands and releases a soft surge of magic. A bright aura blooms around them as the dagger's hidden properties are revealed. The system displays the results: a level 0 horned dagger with 18 attack points, plus a bonus of 5 strength. Admiring the weapon, he realizes the stat gap places him far ahead of other beginners. With the dagger sorted, he evaluates what he's missing. He decides that he still needs a way to sustain himself in combat. Thieves can rely on potions or bandages. Since he doesn't have the money to stockpile potions, he chooses to pursue a healing approach through bandaging instead. He goes to the pharmacy and asks the vendor for 2 basic water-breathing potions to support what he plans to do next. The pharmacist hands them over without trouble. With those secured, the young man steels himself to finally acquire the bandaging technique he has been waiting for. He heads toward Rando Lake, an isolated area near a small fishing village. While crossing a wild field, he spots players battling nearby and recognizes the danger. He keeps his guard up, knowing the area can turn deadly fast. To reach his destination, he must pass through the fisherman's village, a place crawling with hostile creatures. Before he can slip through, a regional announcement echoes out. It declares that the victorious Return Guild will be clearing the area and orders all other players to leave. He remembers that guild clearly. In his previous life, they were dominant, arrogant, and used power like a weapon. His face hardens as he recalls being hunted by them for months. Now he swears that he will repay that debt slowly and properly. Instead of backing down, he activates stealth and decides to use the disorder to slip through unnoticed. He sprints through the village, weaving past monsters and guild members while invisible. But midway through, his stealth expires at the worst possible time. A fireball launches toward him to stop his escape. The spell hits him directly. He takes 23 damage. The system announces that the player Purple Fire attacked first. He identifies the attacker as a level 3 elemental mage. The mage warns him that he has to leave and claims that solo players are not allowed in that area. The protagonist knows mages are dangerous opponents, but he also knows he will not run in this new life. He observes that the mage's casting time is 2 seconds, which gives him enough time to close the distance. Moving sharply, the former thief throws his dagger. The blade strikes the mage cleanly. The damage lands hard enough to shock the enemy. The mage lashes out, shouting that the thief is looking for trouble by daring to challenge his guild. Without pausing, the mage unleashes a violent ring of fire, attempting to trap him behind a burning barrier and end the fight instantly. Flames crash into the thief head-on. He takes 39 damage, yet he refuses to fold. He immediately drinks a recovery potion, and his health jumps up by 89 points. The sudden surge visibly rattles the mage. The thief lunges in and lands a critical strike, dealing 30.6 damage and swinging the fight in his favor. The mage is knocked back and shouts furiously for the intruder to get out of his sight. At the same time, the mage calculates that the thief's health must be low after eating so many hits, even with that potion. With confidence returning, the mage decides that one more fireball will finish it. He begins casting his strongest spell and declares that this is the punishment for challenging the power of his guild. The hero shows no fear. He grips his dagger and prepares to end it. He triggers Vital Strike, surges forward with speed, and delivers the decisive blow. The mage drops. Stunned by the defeat, the enemy wonders how a level 2 thief could survive repeated direct spells. Then realization hits him. He fixates on the potion and questions how a solo player could afford something that expensive so early. With a satisfied expression, the hero tells the mage that he should think about those answers when he revives in the city. The defeated player vanishes from the map. A bronze staff lies among the drops. The young man snatches it up immediately, already thinking about the price it could bring. At that moment, the mage's companions notice their guildmate has fallen. They rush in to avenge him. The protagonist doesn't hesitate. He turns and bolts at full speed. A heavily built warrior tries to cut him off, leaping in front of him to block the path. The pursuer's flaming sword blazes as he unleashes a powerful skill, clearly intending to end the chase with one crushing hit. The hero slips aside with sharp, practiced movement and continues sprinting toward the lake. The warrior freezes in shock, not expecting such speed and evasion from a lone thief. At the water's edge, the young man drinks the water-breathing potion and prepares to escape the only way he can. 2 guild warriors chase him down and use their flaming slash and charge skills in coordination, trying to corner him before he can jump. Their attacks come in a tight pattern meant to trap him. He stays calm. His gaze remains fixed on the plan. At the right moment, he throws his dagger to distract them and immediately leaps off the cliff into the lake. He slices into the water in a clean dive. His body vanishes into the depths, and the escape succeeds. On the shoreline, the pursuers complain that they can't follow without water-breathing potions. A new guild member arrives and asks what happened to the fugitive. The others explain that he disappeared underwater and they lost him. Their leader then orders them to question the defeated mage for the thief's name so they can take revenge later. Beneath the surface, the hero checks his own information and notes that his name is now Nirvana Flame. He promises himself that he will not go easy on them next time. Relieved to have shaken the guild, he remembers something else. There are treasure chests hidden at the bottom of this lake. Guided by his future memories, he swims to a precise location and finds the chest exactly where he expects it. Inside, he discovers a pearl that grants 30 minutes of water breathing every 12 hours. Then a golden trident flashes into view in front of him, and he realizes the danger has returned. The moment he is attacked, he understands that he hasn't even reached the creature's lair yet. The guards have already noticed him. He knows he can't win against them underwater, so he retreats, aiming for a safer place to regroup. Near the surface, aquatic monsters churn with anger, clearly enraged that an intruder has entered what they consider sacred territory. Just then, a massive explosion erupts back in the fisherman's village. The noise and shock draw the attention of the creatures. The victorious Return Guild has started its assault, and the monsters rush away in desperation to defend their home. The hero allows himself a faint smile and mentally thanks the guild for creating the distraction. With the guards pulled away, his route becomes clear. A system message announces that he has discovered the island of the lake's heart. His real objective begins now. He climbs out of the water and exhales in relief, grateful to have reached the secret island and escaped his pursuers. As he looks along the beach, he sees a pink-haired girl running for her life with monsters close behind. He stops, stunned, as recognition hits him. It is Yahello. He remembers her as the holy mage who fought at his side in his previous life. He never expected to meet her again this early. Countless events had once bound them together, and he can't help thinking that this reunion might be something like fate. The girl notices him in the water and grows anxious. She sees that 3 monsters are still tailing her, and she realizes that adding another target could make things worse. The protagonist moves without hesitation. He leaps toward one of the creatures, choosing to help her immediately. He drives in with his strongest technique and uses Vital Strike to hit the monster with a precise, brutal blow, cutting down the threat. At the same time, the mage counters with Holy Judgment, blasting another creature and thinning the pack. They fall into rhythm quickly, attacking in a way that feels strangely natural. Their timing meshes. Their positioning complements each other. Together they finish off the remaining enemies with speed and efficiency. When the last creature drops, the young woman turns to him and expresses sincere gratitude for the unexpected rescue. The hero responds that it was nothing and formally introduces himself, stating that his player name is Nirvana Flame. The mage reacts with surprise. She repeats the name quietly, searching her memory as if it means something. She wonders to herself whether this mysterious player might be the same Neon she once knew in the real world. She introduces herself as Chacha. As thanks, she asks to add him as a friend so she can repay the favor properly. He accepts. The system confirms the new connection. Then he asks what she is doing on the island. Chacha explains that she has a quest requiring her to collect water pouches. He replies that he also needs something from the same monsters, specifically fine silk. Hearing that, she offers the silk she has already gathered and opens a trade window to hand it over. He receives 12 fine silks and calculates their value at roughly 36 copper coins in the current market. Chacha remarks that money can't replace lost experience and adds that the silk is useless to her, so he should take it all. Before either of them can relax, the water ripples violently. The leader of the water spiders rises from the lake, and both of them realize that a far greater threat has arrived. The system confirms that they have formed a party to face the island's chief together. The young man charges first. He lands Vital Strike on the giant creature and deals 52 damage. The pink-haired mage immediately begins preparing Holy Judgment, ready to combine her light magic with his openings. Her spell hits cleanly and tears 70 points from the water spider. The monster swings to retaliate. The young man warns his partner to jump, and both of them leap at the right moment, narrowly avoiding the deadly blow. He then draws his crossbow and declares that he will pull the chief's attention so she can cast safely. He fires. The arrows slam into the monster's armored shell and deal solid damage, keeping its focus locked on him. Chacha agrees with the strategy and takes advantage of the opening. She releases another Holy Judgment. Light crashes into the spider again, dealing another 70 damage and pushing the enemy to the edge. With the final exchange, the chief's body collapses and sinks into the water. The system confirms that the leader spider has been defeated. Chacha grows quiet afterward, clearly thinking. She finds it strange how naturally they fought together, as if they had trained side by side for years. Noticing her silence, the protagonist asks whether something is wrong. She dismisses it and praises his fighting. Then she asks why he travels alone. He explains that he is simply used to it, with a small, hopeful smile. She takes the chance and invites him to join her group for a new dungeon. Ni Yan asks about the shield warriors in their party and says that he wants their exact numbers. Yao Yao tells him that they only have 2, each with 53 defense and 230 HP. He immediately says that this is still far from enough. He explains that the Treant King has a hidden critical hit mechanic, and anyone with less than 60 defense can be killed in a single blow. Yao Yao is left stunned by that revelation. She says that she has never heard anyone mention the Treant King having a critical chance. She adds that, at this stage of the game, pushing bronze equipment high enough to reach 60 defense is simply too hard. Ni Yan tells her that there is still another solution. He calmly steps in and takes over command of the team. Yao Yao agrees to help persuade the others, even though she knows convincing them will not be easy. In the end, the boss is defeated, and Ni Yan immediately goes forward to inspect the loot. After checking the drops, he pulls out a pair of fine silk gauntlets, and Yao Yao is startled by how advanced his appraisal skill seems to be. Since the gauntlets are bronze-tier equipment for a mage, he directly gives them to her. Along with that, the Treant King also drops a rare thief skill book called Assassinate. Ni Yan keeps the skill book and the silk for himself. Yao Yao is delighted by the rewards and eagerly accepts the mage gear without even pretending to refuse. At that moment, a system notification suddenly appears. The server announces that it will shut down for maintenance in 3 minutes. Yao Yao waves goodbye and says that she will see him next time. Ni Yan logs out and his character gradually breaks apart into light before disappearing. When he opens his eyes again, he finds himself back in his room and realizes that it is already the morning of the second day. He decides that while he is becoming stronger inside the game, he also has to keep his real body in good condition. He knows that Kaosu will have bodyguards in the future, so he cannot allow himself to remain weak this time. With that thought in mind, he heads outside and starts running through the city streets. Then, without warning, a truck screeches to a halt right in front of him. The sudden collision throws him to the pavement. He groans in pain while lying on the ground, and someone quickly rushes over to see if he is all right. To his surprise, it is Zayao, the deskmate he remembers from his previous life. The moment she notices the blood on him, she scolds him for being so reckless. She quickly returns to her car to fetch a first aid kit. As Ni Yan watches her, memories surface of how Kaosu's group destroyed her in his past life. Zayao carefully wraps his injured arm and tells him that he needs to stop acting so rashly. He quietly looks at her and thinks that she truly has not changed at all. With a teasing tone, he asks whether she plans to take responsibility for looking after him now. She immediately says that she does not. She lets out a huff and walks away, leaving him standing there alone. As she drives off, she wonders to herself why he seems so much more self-assured lately. Meanwhile, Ni Yan's expression turns firm. He knows that the only way to change their future is to become stronger in the game. Just then, his phone begins to ring, and he sees that Tang Yao is calling. The moment he answers, Tang Yao shouts through the line and demands to know where he has been for the past 2 days. Ni Yan smiles faintly, relieved to hear that his best friend is still safe and well. He remembers how Tang Yao once risked everything to support him in his past life. At the same time, he also remembers Tang Yao's miserable death in a dark alley, and that memory makes him even more determined to change what is coming. Not long after, Tang Yao catches up with him on the street and grabs hold of him. Tang Yao asks whether he has started playing the new game, and Ni Yan reveals that he is already a level 2 thief. Tang Yao proudly says that he is a level 3 mage and then drags him straight toward the PK bar. The PK bar is an entertainment club where players can gamble on their own battles. Every competitive match there is intensely personal, with high-tier equipment or cash being placed on the line each round. The moment Tang Yao enters, Weikai mocks him and asks whether he has returned just to hand over even more money. Then Weikai shifts his gaze toward Ni Yan and sneers, wondering whether the last beating had not been enough to teach him a lesson. Tang Yao throws an arm around Ni Yan and says that there is no need to worry because he's there to protect him. Weikai finds it strange that Ni Yan remains so calm and starts wondering whether the boy has suddenly found some backbone. Tang Yao tells them to stop wasting time and says that they should head to the battle pods. The stake is set at 200 credits per round. Soon, the match screen lights up, showing Tang Yao's arcane mage against Weikai's berserker. Ni Yan immediately recognizes how terrible this matchup is for a mage, especially against a berserker carrying a charged skill. The map is revealed to be a wide, open plain, which makes it nearly impossible for Tang Yao to dodge effectively or use terrain for protection. While the match is being prepared, Shifeng walks over to Ni Yan, mocks Tang Yao's losing streak, and suggests that the two of them play around as well. Ni Yan accepts without hesitation, but he clearly says that he has no interest in playing unless there is a real wager involved. Shifeng becomes heated and throws all 700 credits he has on the line for a single match. The screen soon updates again, displaying Ni Yan's wind thief against Shifeng's ranger. This time, the battlefield is a dense bamboo forest, which is the perfect environment for a thief. The moment the match starts, Ni Yan activates stealth and vanishes completely. Shifeng immediately starts scanning the area from among the trees, trying to detect even the slightest movement. The sabermen watching from the side start growing arrogant, mocking Ni Yan and saying that he is a coward who can only hide. But while they are laughing, Ni Yan has already moved directly above Shifeng, hiding his presence so completely that it feels as though he has erased himself from existence with sheer experience. Shifeng finally senses something and looks upward, but by then it is already too late. Ni Yan drops down in an instant, blade first, and catches his opponent entirely unprepared. His first strike lands cleanly and tears away a large portion of Shifeng's health bar. Panic fills Shifeng as he realizes that Ni Yan has already broken through his space and destroyed his rhythm. He lashes out in desperation, swinging wildly in an attempt to recover control. The blade only brushes across Ni Yan's face. After seeing through the full extent of Shifeng's ability, Ni Yan quietly says that the match is already over and then unleashes the final attack. A vital strike lands for 70 damage and ends the battle in one clean burst. Shifeng's avatar instantly breaks apart into digital fragments, and he is left staring blankly at the defeat screen. Everyone gathered around the monitors is stunned by how fast the fight ended. Ni Yan walks away with complete indifference, thinking that defeating a mere level 2 beginner feels closer to bullying than fighting. Shifeng remains frozen, unable to understand how such simple movements led to such a crushing loss. When he removes his helmet, his body trembles as he realizes just how much Ni Yan has changed. One of Weikai's followers stands there in silence, wondering whether this really is the same timid boy they used to bully. Soon after, Tong Yao steps out of his pod looking dejected, having already lost 1,200 credits. He bitterly complains that the Berserker's anti-magic aura is simply too strong a counter against a mage. Ni Yan corrects him at once and explains that the aura only reduces a portion of the damage, and that with proper timing it can be played around without too much difficulty. Tong Yao stares at him in surprise, unable to understand where his friend learned such advanced knowledge. Ni Yan says nothing more and simply hands over the 700 credits he just won to help make up for Tong Yao's losses. At that moment, one of Weikai's thugs steps forward and angrily shouts at Ni Yan to stop acting so smug. The man suddenly throws a punch, determined to put him in his place right then and there. But Ni Yan catches the incoming fist with startling ease. Using the attacker's own momentum, he flicks him down and slams him hard onto the floor. As he moves, Ni Yan recalls how, in his past life, he trained in real combat precisely so he could deal with men like Kaosu and the people around him. Tong Yao is left completely speechless, wondering when his friend became this terrifying in the real world as well. Shifeng and the others instinctively retreat, their confidence breaking apart. Weikai stares at Ni Yan and finally understands that the person before him is no longer the same easy target he once bullied. He raises a hand to stop his group from escalating things further and asks whether Ni Yan really defeated one of his men in the game. Ni Yan remains perfectly calm and says dismissively that it was only a small match, adding that the opponent had simply been too weak. Weikai sneers and invites him to fight another round, but Ni Yan says that he has no interest unless the bet is worth his time. Even so, Weikai shamelessly uses his advantage as a level 3 berserker to challenge Ni Yan, who is only a level 2 Gale Thief. Ignoring Tong Yao's anxiety, Ni Yan raises the stake dramatically and proposes 3,000 credits for a single duel. Weikai immediately accepts, driven by arrogance and fully convinced that a level 2 player has no chance of creating a miracle. Tong Yao panics, grabs Ni Yan, and asks where he's supposed to get that kind of money for such a reckless gamble. In the end, the money is borrowed from Tong Yao. Even though fear is written all over him, he still chooses to bet everything on his friend. Soon, both players materialize inside the digital arena, and the tension between the Gale Thief and the Berserker becomes suffocating. This time, the battlefield is nothing more than a flat grassland, a map that offers almost no cover at all for someone whose greatest strength lies in stealth. From the sidelines, Tong Yao watches with a knot in his stomach, fully aware of how terrible this matchup is for Ni Yan. Weikai, brimming with confidence, even offers to switch the map out of sheer condescension, but Ni Yan calmly refuses and says that the current battlefield is already good enough. Without another word, he activates stealth, his body blurring for an instant before completely disappearing into the open field. Weikai stands in the grass with his weapon ready, sweeping his gaze across the swaying plains in search of any trace of his hidden opponent. As a berserker, he believes that no matter how slippery Ni Yan is, he will eventually catch him. Then, a fierce gust of wind sweeps across the field, drowning out smaller sounds and stirring the grass in every direction. Ni Yan moves with that wind, using the natural disturbance to erase every sign of his approach and conceal himself perfectly from the berserker's search. As the wind grows stronger, sweat begins to bead on Weikai's face. He realizes that he has completely lost all sense of where Ni Yan might be. Panic creeps in, and he suddenly swings his sword through empty air, hoping to catch the invisible thief by chance, but his blade cuts through nothing. Tong Yao watches with his chest tightening, shocked by how masterfully Ni Yan is using both stealth and the terrain. Meanwhile, Ni Yan waits in the tall grass directly behind his opponent, staying perfectly still and patiently timing his next move with the rhythm of the wind. Weikai tries to reassure himself, convincing himself that Ni Yan must still be in front of him and moving cautiously. But when the next gust surges through the field, Ni Yan explodes from the shadows and strikes. His blade slips through an opening and lands cleanly, Shock instantly spreads across Waikai's face as he wonders how his opponent managed to get behind him without making a sound. The burly berserker reacts on instinct and swings his greatsword in retaliation, but Nie has already leapt backward and evaded the counterattack. Refusing to lose control of the fight, Weikai immediately releases a whirlwind slash, spinning his greatsword in a wide, savage arc. Ni Yan reads the move at a glance and calmly notes that a heavy weapon like that always leaves a brief 1-second delay once the skill finishes. In that instant, he sees the weakness that will decide the match and positions himself to exploit the berserker's opening. The moment Waikai's spinning sword begins to slow, Ni Yan darts forward. He knows this is the best chance he will get to finish the duel. He moves through the grass like a blur, his speed far beyond what anyone would expect from a level 2 player. Then he unleashes Vital Strike, driving the skill straight into Waikai's exposed opening with terrifying precision. Weikai cries out as the blow lands hard and his HP immediately drops toward the danger zone. That single hit shakes everyone watching. No one expected the so-called underdog to show such perfect execution and timing. With his health badly reduced, Weikai becomes frantic. Humiliated by the idea of losing to someone he sees as inferior, he gives in to rage and prepares his final skill. He roars that Ni Yan should die and swings out with Flame Slash, trying to force space and turn the battle around in one move. Ni Yan instantly understands the situation. As a thief, backing away would destroy his advantage, so staying close is his only path to victory. The flaming blade tears across him and rips away a chunk of his health. Weikai bursts into laughter and says that Ni Yan was arrogant for trying to endure a direct strike from him. Certain that victory is now within reach, the berserker draws back for one last crushing slash. But at this point, the two of them are already at point-blank range. Ni Yan knows that the sword's charging distance is shorter than the reach of his dagger. To him, this is the decisive moment he has been waiting for. He launches a swift counterattack so sudden that Weikai is caught completely off guard. The collision sends a violent shock through the battlefield, and in the next instant, Waikai's health drops to 0. Ni Yan slides backward, barely holding his footing after taking the earlier hit, but he remains standing. The victory screen appears before everyone's eyes, declaring the thief the sole winner. Against all expectation, he has just brought down a level 3 berserker. Back in reality, Weikai stares blankly at his helmet, unable to believe what just happened. Tang Yao rushes over in excitement, celebrating wildly, but Nie Yan only shrugs and downplays the whole thing as luck. Tang Yao refuses to believe that explanation. Convinced that his friend has become some kind of hidden expert, he eagerly begs him to teach him some tricks for playing an arcane mage. A little later, Weikai walks over to them. Unexpectedly, he accepts his defeat with some dignity and even invites the two of them to hang out again sometime. Even so, he makes it clear that Ni Yan is dangerous and says that making an enemy of him would be unwise. Ni Yan tells Tang Yao that once they return to the game, he will help him improve. That night, Ni Yan's efforts do not stop. After returning home, he drops to the floor and starts doing sit-ups, knowing that a powerful character also needs a capable person behind the helmet. He pushes through set after set of push-ups as well, determined to strengthen himself in reality just as much as in the game. Once he has worked up a sweat, he gets ready to dive back into conviction. He puts on the helmet and begins logging in. The moment he reappears in the virtual world, a friend request from Ezzy flashes across his interface. At almost the same time, a message arrives from Flying Stone along with payment for the guide Ni Yan gave him earlier. Nie accepts the friend request, already thinking that he can take Ezzy through the Treant Forest at some point later, but before that he has a hidden quest that still needs to be completed. He goes to find Physician Blevins and hands over the fine silk he collected. The old doctor is visibly impressed and offers to teach him a new skill. A prompt appears, asking whether he wants to learn Intermediate Combat Bandage. Nie accepts immediately, because this reward is exactly what he came for. The skill allows him to restore 20 health over 10 seconds, even during combat. However, the quest does not end there. Its completion only rises to 20%, and Nie immediately realizes that he has triggered a rare chain quest. Blevins asks for even more silk, and Nie gladly agrees. Just then, another system notification appears on his screen. A pink-haired girl sends word that the group is ready, and Nie tells her that he is coming right away. His plan is to farm rare items in the Treant Forest while also advancing the high-level chain quest. When he reaches the Tracktown teleport point, Tang Yao is already waiting there, wondering what is taking him so long. Nie arrives and tells him that they are going after the Treant King today. From there, they walk toward a large group of players who are waiting nearby. Nie notices them at once, while Tang Yao's jaw nearly drops when he sees how attractive the girls in the party are. One of the girls tells Nie that convincing Yulan to let him take command was not easy. At that moment, a thief named Chenbo scoffs loudly, clearly displeased that an outsider has been brought in to lead them. Nie simply greets them without any excess words, but Yulan is already able to tell from his composure alone that he is not ordinary. Nie wastes no time and gets straight to the point. He says that he is confident in clearing the run, but only if he is made captain and everyone follows his commands without exception. Chenbo immediately snaps back and asks why they should entrust their lives to some outsider who might end up getting them all killed. Yulin sharply cuts Chenbo off and reminds him that they already agreed to these conditions. She then apologizes to Ni Yan for her teammates' rude behavior. Ni Yan remains completely unmoved. He says that the rule is simple. Anyone who dislikes his way of doing things is free to leave right now. A system prompt appears as he officially forms the team. Ni Yan makes it clear that anyone who tries to sabotage the run will be removed permanently. Chenbo reluctantly joins, though his expression remains bitter and unconvinced. To settle everyone's nerves, Ni Yan then makes an astonishing offer. He says that if the party wipes because of a mistake on his part, he will compensate every member with 10 silver coins. The entire group is stunned. At their current level, 10 silver is an enormous amount of money. Yulin and Yao Yao both look at him with fresh surprise, impressed by how bold and confident he is. Nie Yan begins preparations by having everyone report their current stats and equipment. After that, he orders the mages and warriors to buy specific haste and strength potions before they leave. Some of the mages immediately begin complaining about the cost, worrying that the expenses will ruin the value of the run even if they succeed. Chenbo mocks Naiyan and says that spending so much on potions for a single dungeon attempt is nothing but pointless waste. Tang Yao instantly fires back and offers to lend him some money if he is too poor to afford the supplies himself. Yulin also hesitates, saying that this is far too much preparation for a normal run, but Niyan simply tells her to trust him. Then he reveals after hearing that, Yulin falls silent for a moment before finally giving the order for everyone to prepare exactly as Niyan instructed. With the party fully assembled, the group leaves the city gates and heads into the forest. Before long, they arrive at a dark stone tablet hidden among the trees. Ancient writing glows across its surface when Niyan touches it. He murmurs something about the dark elves as the portal to the forest slowly opens before them. Then, the difficulty selection screen appears. Ni Yan does not hesitate for even a second. He immediately chooses expert difficulty. A pulse of energy surges through the group, and the entire party is teleported into the dungeon. The system title confirms that they have entered expert mode. Panic instantly ripples through the team as everyone realizes just how dangerous this is. Yulon quickly understands that Ni Yan planned this from the start. Chenbo completely loses his temper. He accuses Ni Yan of deliberately sabotaging the run just to make everyone lose experience points. Ni Yan remains as calm as ever and tells him that if he is so afraid, he is free to leave whenever he wants. Yao Yao steps in and tells Chenbo to stop causing trouble. But inside, Chenbo burns with resentment, furious that she is defending an outsider instead of him. Ni Yan calmly explains the reality of the situation. He says that expert mode only increases the enemy's health by around 30% and demands better coordination, but that there is nothing impossible about clearing it. Even so, Yulan still cannot understand where his outrageous confidence comes from. Yao Yao asks him again whether he is truly sure about this. Ni Yan tells her to relax. But just as the words leave him, his instincts flare and he senses danger. He immediately shouts for everyone to scatter. A moment later, giant roots burst out of the ground and whip across the area. Chenbo is caught completely off guard and is instantly wrapped up by the vines. He struggles wildly as they tighten around him. Then a towering Treant emerges, looming over the party and preparing to crush its trapped prey. The monster begins to squeeze the life out of the thief. Chenbo screams desperately for Niyan to save him. In response, Niyan orders the mages to unleash everything they have. The shield warriors charge forward at once and form a defensive wall. One of the tanks plants his feet and raises his shield just as a vine crashes into it with tremendous force. At the same time, spells rain in from the backline, hammering the Treant with everything the party has. A blast of magic erupts against the creature's trunk. The attacking vines are cut apart, and Chenbo is finally thrown back to the ground. As the front line dodges and regroups, Ni Yan coldly says that Chenbo's near death is entirely his own fault. Tang Yao laughs and says that even a random player off the street would probably make a better thief than Chenbo. Yulan tells Chenbo that he has embarrassed himself enough for one day. Seeing that the group is still shaky, Ni Yan decides to move to the front himself and clear the path properly. The team immediately picks up speed and begins rushing deeper through the forest. Under his lead, their formation remains incredibly tight even while moving at a rapid pace. As they advance, Ni Yan leaps and slices through hidden tripwires in midair with precise movements. He glances back at the group while making expert-level trap handling look absurdly easy. He continues forward, cutting apart one forest trap after another with almost surgical precision. Tang Yao, watching all of this, is visibly shaken by how smooth and overwhelming Ni Yan's mastery of the thief class has become. Yulan and the rest of the party can only stare in awe. Yet even now, Chenbo refuses to accept what he is seeing. He scoffs and claims that clearing traps like this is nothing special and that he could do the same thing without any trouble. Driven by pride, he recklessly charges ahead to prove himself. But the moment his foot comes down, it slams directly onto a hidden pressure plate. In the next instant, deadly spikes burst from the ground and catch the arrogant thief inside a lethal trap. Fear crashes over Chenbo the moment he realizes he has no way to avoid the deadly trap. Just before the spikes can tear through him, a powerful hand catches his arm and yanks him to safety. Hanging there in shock, he looks up to see Ni Yan staring down at him with icy indifference while saying that such clumsy mistakes are the mark of a complete amateur. Burning with humiliation, Chenbo immediately turns hostile and accuses Ni Yan of leading him into the trap on purpose. Teng Yao steps forward in anger and says that it is shameless to blame the very person who just saved his life. Ni Yan remains perfectly calm and says without emotion that Chenbo is simply unworthy of being called a thief. Enraged by those words, Chenbo lunges at the silver-haired rogue. His movements are reckless, crude, and painfully easy to read. Nie shuts him down effortlessly and says with open mockery that Chenbo should bring a few friends next time if he wants to do any better. Chenbo freezes where he stands, stunned by the overwhelming gap between them. Yulan and Yao Yao quickly step in and voice their disappointment at Chenbo's disgraceful behavior. Desperate to salvage his pride, Chenbo tries to turn the others against Ni Yan by calling him an outsider, but the team's tank cuts him off and tells him to stop targeting people for no reason. Realizing that he has lost all support from the group, Chenbo lets out a bitter laugh filled with resentment and decides that he's done staying with them. A system notification sounds as Chenbo leaves the party and disappears into the dark forest alone. Yao Yao sincerely apologizes for the trouble, but Nia Yan is honestly glad to be free of such useless baggage. Yulan regains control of the group and says that everyone needs to focus, because they still have a dungeon to clear and there is no time to waste. Half an hour later, the party reaches a dense section of forest where 18 Treants stand packed together like a living wall. Yulan hesitates at the sight of such a large enemy cluster, but Ni Yan has already devised a plan. He climbs high above the forest floor and settles onto a branch, using the height to study the entire formation from above. The rest of the team watches from below as he takes out a specialized hand crossbow, a weapon perfectly suited for high-level pulling. With complete confidence, he prepares to demonstrate a level of monster control none of them have ever seen before. Ni Yan raises the 3-shot hand crossbow and fires without the slightest pause. The bolts split through the air and strike 3 different points deep within the forest. Boiled Water and the others stare upward in disbelief, wondering whether he just made a terrible mistake. But the shots land exactly as intended, waking a massive group of treants at once. The monsters let out furious roars and begin charging straight toward the team's position. Yao Yao is left speechless, realizing that using a 3-shot crossbow like this to pull aggro is on an entirely different level. Yulan turns to look at Ni Yan with growing disbelief, silently wondering where in the world they found someone like him. The treants crash into the party's formation, swinging their heady branches with frightening force. Ni Yan stays calm and tells Boiled Water to steady his center of gravity while ordering the others to focus their attacks. Then he leaps directly into the battle, his strikes flashing with bursts of electric energy. Boiled Water plants himself behind his shield and is stunned to find that Ni Yan's advice is actually making it much easier to block the enemy impacts. Shockwaves ripple through the forest as the party collides with the wooden beasts. One by one, the first treants go down and collapse into broken heaps of timber. As the dust begins to settle, a golden glimmer appears among the remains. Yulan picks up a pair of bronze-grade gauntlets and is stunned that expert difficulty is already dropping loot this good. Without giving the monsters time to regroup, Ni Yan fires again and skillfully pulls the next wave into the same killing zone. The team tears through the treants once more, and the forest floor soon fills with shattered bark and splintered debris. Ni Yan moves through the battle like a shadow, eliminating targets with ruthless precision while the girls watch with open admiration. Yulan keeps glancing ahead, sensing that this is all building toward the true objective Ni Yan has been aiming at since the moment they entered. After the current wave is cleared, Ni Yan tells everyone to rest briefly and says that the real rewards are still ahead of them. Instead of taking the main route, he points toward the west. Yulan hesitates, remembering that the path is known for making adventurers stop in their tracks. Before long, they notice a figure sitting on a rock in the distance. It is the treant herder Yanpat. The old man sits there alone, playing a mournful tune for the forest he once watched over. In a heavy voice, he tells them that there was once a time when humans and treants lived together in peace. He explains that everything changed when the Dark Elves intervened and twisted the balance of the forest, and he says that he had once hoped someone would come and end the Treant King's madness. Pat warns the group to leave before night falls, because once darkness comes, the monsters only grow more dangerous. Nian bows respectfully and explains that they came precisely to eliminate the treants and restore order to the forest. At the mention of the Dark Elves, the old herder's face twists with rage. The others are still trying to process the conversation, while Yulan quietly wonders when Ni Yan became such a terrifying monster inside this game. Nian explains that triggering this hidden quest is their only real chance of defeating the expert-grade Treant King. Pat is visibly shocked that a young rogue like him actually noticed the Dark Elves' role in all of this chaos. The old man then hands over a special dust that can reveal hidden enemies. With the powder in hand, Nie Yan signals for the team to follow him. He grabs a thick vine and begins descending into the ravine below, sliding down smoothly while leading the others deeper into the darkness. The area below is pitch black. Ni Yan suddenly stops the group and tells them that their targets are cornered nearby. Yao Yao asks how he can be so sure, but Nian says that they have been stalked since the moment the party first entered the dungeon. A moment later, Yao Yao gasps as she senses a cold and sinister presence lurking nearby. Dark smoke begins drifting through the ravine, and Nian says that their enemy's movement speed is decreasing, so they must kill them in a single clean strike before they escape. A misty shadow creeps across the rocky ground as one of the hidden elves passes near their hiding place. The entire party remains silent as they watch deeper into the passage, staring at the faint outlines moving in the darkness. Then Nian scatters the revealing powder into the air. The shimmering dust spreads through the passage and forces the invisible stalkers to reveal themselves. Two weak dark elves are instantly exposed, and both of them fall into panic now that their concealment is gone. One of the elves lets out a desperate cry and frantically searches for a way to escape. Tang Yao and Boiled Water immediately step forward to block the route. Tang Yao grins and says that the elves are not going anywhere. Trapped in a corner, one of the dark elves lunges at him with its claws extended. Boiled Water steps in and tanks the attack, while Tang Yao begins channeling a spell. Mana swirls between his hands, building into a blazing sphere of fire. The fireball slams into the dark elf and ignites it in an explosion of flames, making it scream in agony. Yulan draws her sword and urges the rest of the group to move in and finish the enemies off. The skirmish quickly turns into a chaotic melee. In the middle of the clash, Nie Yan spots the item he has been searching for hanging from one of the dark elf's belts. The surviving elf thrashes wildly in desperation, but Nie Yan is already closing in for the kill. The creature resists with all it has left, yet Nie Yan dodges the attack with ease. He follows up with a clean slash and lands a vital hit that tears away a huge portion of the elf's health. At the same time, the rest of the team unleashes their own skills, burying the two dark elves beneath a storm of blades and magic. When the enemies finally collapse, Nie Yan immediately reaches for the glowing loot left behind on the ground. At last, he has the item he came for. Nie Yan raises a golden, intricately carved flute and reveals that this is the true key to clearing the dungeon. It is Ian Pat's flute, a quest item capable of severely weakening Treant-type monsters while also granting a large increase to the user's health. Yao Yao suddenly calls him over and points at something half hidden in the grass. Nie Yan bends down and picks up a worn sheet of parchment. It is not ordinary loot at all, but a letter. That discovery instantly triggers a branching storyline. The letter contains a secret warning about a coming counterattack by a Drow tribe against Hilton Fortress. Yulan stares at the paper, unable to read the elvish writing, while Nie Yan explains that it is tied to a special quest they can turn in after clearing the forest. The rest of the team becomes visibly excited. None of them expected to stumble onto a hidden quest here. Without hesitation, Nie Yan hands the flute over to Boiled Water. Since Boiled Water is their main tank, Nie Yan says that he's the one who most needs the extra health if they want to survive against the Train King. Boiled Water is left speechless. With an additional 300 HP, he suddenly feels that even the boss is no longer quite so terrifying. The party sets out again, though Tang Yao lingers behind for a brief moment and notices how completely everyone's attitude toward Nie Yan has changed. Tang Yao quietly smiles to himself, proud that his friend is finally showing everyone what he is truly capable of. Meanwhile, Nie Yan leads the group deeper into the forest, his cloak swaying behind him as they push toward the end of the dungeon. Soon, a heavy tremor shakes the earth, and smoke begins rising from the dense tree line ahead. The group starts cutting down the remaining treants with quick attacks and coordinated magic, clearing a route forward. As they move, Boiled Water admires the new bronze round shield he acquired earlier. In his eyes, it is far better than anything he had ever managed to grind for on his own. Yulan hesitates for a moment before asking Nie Yan whether she can buy the shield from him, knowing full well that he is the one who led them to it. She says that with equipment like this, her team might actually have a chance to challenge higher-level dungeons by themselves later on. Nie Yan tells her to simply keep it, explaining that he only came here for thief gear and for one specific jewel that the boss can drop. Yao Yao feels both grateful and guilty, thanking him sincerely while feeling bad that he is giving up so much valuable loot. Before anyone can say more, the ground suddenly splits apart as a colossal branch crashes down and shatters the terrain around them. Dust and debris explode in every direction, and when the cloud begins to settle, the enormous guardian of the forest finally reveals itself. The whole team instinctively braces. Nie immediately shouts for everyone to focus and form up at once. He orders the shield warriors to take the front line. Out of the haze emerges the Treant King, a level 4 Lord-grade boss with 10,000 health. Now the real battle begins. Towering high above them, the Treant King roars with fury and curses the humans for daring to invade its domain. Its welcome is anything but friendly. The giant creature slams its vine-covered arms downward and rages that they should all perish as it tries to crush Nie Yan first. Nie Yan becomes a blur, springing over a sweeping root attack with incredible agility. His reflexes are so sharp that it leaves the others stunned. He flips backward to evade another strike and lands lightly without the slightest sign of strain. The priestess is completely overwhelmed by what she is seeing, unable to believe that a mere level 2 thief is dancing around a level 4 Lord-grade boss as if it were nothing. Yan immediately snaps the group out of their daze and orders boiled water to secure aggro while telling the mages to keep their distance. He is now fully commanding the raid. Boiled water charges in and strikes the boss, but the Treant King's defense is so immense that the blow barely leaves a mark. At once, everyone realizes this will be a long and brutal fight. The mages open fire, launching bolts of magic from every angle toward the giant tree. The whole team spreads out around the Treant King and unloads their strongest abilities, trying to slowly shave down its enormous health bar. An enormous explosion tears through the clearing, yet the damage numbers that appear are still frustratingly low. Flames and smoke fill the battlefield as the party pushes its assault with everything it has. Then the boss retaliates with a crushing blow that sends Boiled Water's health plunging. Yan instantly shouts for him to use the flute. In the middle of the chaos, Boiled Water manages to blow Ian Pat's flute, hoping the effect is as powerful as Yan promised. The magic activates immediately, wrapping the Treant King in a green aura that cuts its stats in half. Only then does the fight begin to feel possible. Yan tells the mages to use only fire spells from this point onward. He explains that the boss has extremely high resistance to ice, so any other elemental attacks are simply wasting mana. Tan Yao steps forward with a confident grin and makes it clear that fire magic is exactly where he shines. He looks more than ready to turn the giant tree into burning timber. At the same time, Yan pulls the priestess aside and asks whether she has a dispel skill. She seems nervous, but she nods and says that she does. Nie warns her that the boss is about to cast a fear spell, and if Boiled Water gets hit, she must cleanse him the instant it lands. He tells her to stay calm and wait for his signal. As expected, the Treant King suddenly releases a wave of dark green energy. It is the fear spell, and it crashes into the front line like a physical shockwave. Boiled Water is struck hard, and his movements immediately become unsteady as the crowd control effect takes hold. Yan roars for the cleanse. The priestess quickly channels her staff and releases a burst of golden light that dispels the effect. Boiled Water recovers instantly and raises his shield just in time to catch the next incoming attack. Yan praises it as a perfect cleanse. The priestess herself is surprised and relieved that she managed to pull it off under such pressure. With the danger narrowly avoided, the team throws itself back into the assault and hammers the boss with everything available. The Treant King releases a deafening roar as its health finally drops below 3,000. Now it is truly wounded. Its body darkens into a more sinister shade as it enters an enraged state. Yan immediately warns everyone to brace themselves because the next stage is going to be far uglier. Yilan grits her teeth in shock, never expecting the boss to have an enrage mechanic at all. She had not prepared for the Treant King to suddenly become both faster and stronger. Yan barks out new orders, telling Boiled Water to switch entirely to a defensive stance. He says that the tank must survive the next few seconds no matter what. He then orders the healers to drink their mana potions and spam healing non-stop. Under no circumstances can they let Boiled Water's health drop even for a moment. The mages and priests go into full overdrive, their hands glowing as they pour every bit of mana into keeping the raid alive. The enraged Treant King slams violently into Boiled Water's shield, and he can barely hold the line, his arms trembling from the force of the impact. He does not know how much longer he can endure it. Wave after wave of healing magic crashes over him, keeping his health from falling to zero by the narrowest margin. He digs in his heels and blocks another devastating swipe, the impact echoing across the clearing. In that moment, Boiled Water realizes that without the perfect healing support and the power of the flute, he would have died several attacks ago. He hurriedly drinks a health potion and finally understands why Yan insisted that everyone stock up on supplies before entering the dungeon. The enraged Treant King gathers all its power and launches one last desperate frenzy of attacks. The ground cracks and explodes beneath the smashing roots, yet even amid all the debris, the tank remains standing. Yan sees the boss reaching its limit and calls for one final offensive push. He says that the Treant King is on the brink of death, and all they need now is one strong burst to finish it. Yulon and the other melee fighters immediately unleash their strongest abilities, with Holy Light Slash and Heroic Strike landing almost together. At the same time, a blinding surge of magic slams into the Treant King as the rest of the party empties the last of their strength into the fight. This is the moment they have all been fighting toward. Yan lunges forward for the finishing blow, his dagger glowing with deadly energy. The Treant King is completely exposed, its gigantic body no longer able to defend itself from the thief's lightning-fast attack. Yan unleashes Vital Strike and drives his blade home, delivering a massive final blow that empties the boss's remaining health. The giant tree lord lets out one last agonized roar as its body begins collapsing from within. Then, in a spectacular explosion of green light and splintering wood, the Treant King is finally defeated. A stunned silence falls over the battlefield as the smoke slowly clears. The whole team stands there in disbelief, hardly able to process that they actually defeated an expert difficulty Lord-grade boss. Yao Yao and the others are left breathless. She never imagined that this ragtag group could truly overcome an enemy of that rank. Boiled Water and the Priestess immediately begin praising Nian, both of them knowing that without his perfect commands, the party would have been wiped out over and over again. Then shafts of golden light descend as the enormous experience reward spreads across the team. Everyone begins leveling up from the massive amount of EXP gained for defeating such a powerful boss. Yet while the others celebrate, Nia pays them almost no attention and walks straight toward the shimmering loot left behind by the fallen Treant king. At last, he finds what he came for. He lifts a glowing amber gemstone into the air. It is the Featherfall Jewel. For Nian, every bit of effort and planning was worth it for this single drop alone. It is a dark gold quality accessory with no level requirement, an absolute treasure for a thief. It provides extraordinary stat bonuses along with a unique weight reduction effect that makes it even more valuable. With that one item in hand, Ni Yen knows that he has struck gold.